on Facebook to catch up with us. Do.
Oh, I see you just had Travis on.
Yeah, dude.
Good guy.
Yeah, we went through the digital diagnosis that I do. Awesome. So that is live there. So now let me share that to the Vetpreneur Tribe and the podcast group. Done and done. Awesome. All right, bro. You ready to kick this? We're already live.
I'm going to start a watch party real quick. Let my peeps know.
Yeah, man. Go ahead and do that. We'll make sure we get all 13 of them in. And this is not product placement. I just drink Coke, so fuck off. All right. So before we actually begin the conducting process, even though we're still doing all the tech stuff, this is an explicit podcast. Say whatever the fuck you want. Be as open and transparent, as real as you want. And that's why I told you not to put your hat on.
That makes me feel good that I can. I don't have to moderate myself as much.
Let your hair down, right? All right, dude, you ready to kick it?
Yeah, I'm ready, brother. I'm sorry. I just moved into a new house. I know we had talked on the phone a little bit about that. So my office is still, boxes of stuff everywhere as I put everything together.
Welcome to my office, the living room. All right. So, hey, everyone, if you're just jumping in, this is Jared with the Digital Battlefield. Today, we're talking with Justin. I can't pronounce his last name. Justin Szerletich. That has a nice little Eastern European ring to it.
Yeah, it's Austrian-Hungarian.
There we go. So Justin's company went through a merger with Knucklehead Media. We're going to be talking about that. And then he's just going to drop some bombs on us and, give us some to-dos and shit like that. So
yeah, see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, dude, there is no formats, no structure. It's just as raw and real as it can get. And for anyone out there in the Facebook land, we are not moderating comments, so whatever.
But if you leave a comment or a question or you say something, I'll go through and
I go through comments afterwards. Yeah. I don't worry about them in the moment because I'm using Zoom, and it's a nightmare to try to keep Zoom and Facebook in the background at the same time.
Yeah.
So awesome, dude. So why don't you give us the lay of the land for how this merger went down? I heard it was a pretty big deal.
Actually, it was pretty epic from my point of view, and hopefully from Knucklehead Media Group's point of view as well. Knucklehead Media Group was a client of Zerd's, or Szerletich Design Solutions, which was my company, for probably a little over a year, just creating content for their clients and for Knucklehead as an organization. Stephen and I sat down. Stephen, talked about kind of the need of Knucklehead and really wanting Zerd's or Justin, me, to dedicate my time to Knucklehead. And so we worked out, a plan that kind of makes us exclusive to Knucklehead. And what that entailed was a merger where I was able to bring over two of my actual employees with me to Knucklehead as part of the content creation team. And now I head I'm the director of content strategy for Knucklehead Media Group. I got a nice fancy title. I manage a few different editors and designers. And, I don't know how many people are actually familiar with Knucklehead Media Group. If you haven't, I'd love if you went and checked us out. But it's a podcast production studio. It's turnkey for podcasts. So anybody can do podcasting, right? You get a microphone, you sit down, you put it up, whatever.
I can doing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at us, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people who want to podcast, the number one complaint we hear is we just don't have time. Like I can sit down and have a conversation, but I don't have time to produce the content. I don't have time to manage a website. I don't have time to market it. I don't have time to repurpose the content, etc. Right? Edit the episodes, all of that. That's what Knucklehead does. We're the easy button, right? You just press Knucklehead and then shit gets done for you.
It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. It's the best job. Next to owning your own business, this is, A2 is being the director of content strategy for Knucklehead. Stephen Colon, our founder, is a great dude. And the organization, plus the employees I was able to bring over, and even the contractors and employees that Stephen had prior to my arrival. It's just an amazing team.
Awesome, bro. So it sounds like you got a nice pay bump with that, yeah?
Maybe.
I mean, it says director, so that's like what, 100K, right?
I did, as I said, we at the same time we're moving into a brand new house and going through this pandemic. So let's just say it has been a wild and crazy summer, but I think that's pretty much for everyone.
Yeah, man, it's going around. So outside of content creation, what other stuff do you guys do? Or what do you do? What is your background experience and stuff like that?
Yeah, so really, the very first iteration of Szerletich Design Solutions, was kind of the cliche veteran thing to do, right? Which is you start a t-shirt company. Yeah, I was designing t-shirts and designing swag and stuff like that. That didn't last very long, even though I spent way too much money on like a flatbed UV printer for products. And then a whole bunch of heat presses and whatnot for apparel. There's a million of those companies out there, so it's very difficult to compete, not just within the veteran sphere, but also with China, and the 4imprints of the world and all of these companies that can turn around things in 24 hours and, you pay a nickel for something. So that went away. And we pivoted to just design. So it was kind of a graphic design, branding, just get your generic design agency, which dovetailed nicely into creating content for other companies, for their social, for their website, etc. And you and I were tech guys, right? Web development, kind of web design, UI, UX,
right?
And so Zerds quickly became kind of this generic digital marketing agency. So we did everything from your graphic design, UI, UX study and design and implementation to kind of just more, the web development was mainly focused on the front end. Neither one of me or my employees, there were three of us total. We're not coding experts by any means. But, we can mess with your front end and make it look nice. And, we had the theory and strategy behind some good UI and UX.
So for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, UI is the user interface. That means that the actual branded elements on the page, all your buttons look consistent, all of your links look consistent, your headings are consistent. That's your UI. The UX is the user experience. How does a person experience the website? And the front end of the website is the part that you see. Anytime you go to a website, you see something, that's the front end. The back end is all the stuff you don't see. Yeah, dude, I actually had a very almost identical approach. So I started with martial arts, specifically jiu-jitsu. And, I did my own website, my own marketing, branding, graphics, product development, everything, right? And I grew that as well. And I reached a point where I'm like, well, shit, there's a lot of these services that people could use. So I created another branch of my company called Fighter Solutions, and that's the whole purpose of it was, anyone in that realm who needed those services, that's who I went after. And then eventually, as you said, the apparel industry dies, and then all you're left with is the digital stuff. So I kind of pursued that afterwards.
Exactly. A lot of people always ask, like, Justin, like, how did you end up at a podcasting organization? How does a digital marketing company, dovetail into now content creation for podcasts?
Really not that hard, though.
Well, because digital marketing touches like every industry, whether you're in, e-commerce or your jujitsu,
Mhm.
studio or something. There's always some type of digital marketing, whether it's social or email marketing or even just having a website, right?
Right.
So that was the easy part. And then I had previously worked before starting my own company with ESPN here in San Diego, ESPN
Well,
1700,
shit.
just doing traditional radio. So I already had kind of a semi um, broadcast experience where I was comfortable
Right.
with a microphone in front of people and semi producing a show. So it was a natural land for me to fall into place at Knucklehead.
So now you're just um, producing the shows behind the scenes, so to speak, and doing all the repurposing and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even have to produce many shows because we have associate producers that do that now and handle clients individually.
Nice.
But yeah, the actual implementation and strategy behind what content are we producing from the shows,
Mhm.
what is their web presence, what platforms are we targeting, where are we hosting, and then once those pieces of content are created from an episode, scheduling, social strategy, etc. That's kind of my realm now.
Awesome, man. So are you still diving into like the Adobe package, or are you more of a managerial
Yeah.
traffic director?
So I will probably never unsubscribe from my Creative Cloud
It's
membership.
hard to do.
Yeah, I that's my passion is design. So
Mhm.
I am always the very first iteration for a client through the discovery process into the very first deliverables being produced are from me.
Okay.
Once I have those kind of templates and those first iterations developed and delivered to a
Right.
client, then we hand those off to a junior designer or a junior editor for copywriting and whatnot for the build out of all the repurposing stuff. But yeah, I'm still heavily involved at least in that first iteration with clients for design.
Okay.
So no, Photoshop,
So
Illustrator,
it's
none of
it's
that
a
stuff's going
working
on.
director.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, it's like you said, a working directorship, and I just added a whole bunch of management duties on top of designing shit. So
Awesome.
it's great though. I can't complain. I'm not complaining at all. I fucking love what I do.
Do you guys get to do all that stuff from home? Like right now we got COVID and shit, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when that's over, are you still going to be working at home?
Yes. So 99% of what we do is all virtual, for lack of a better term, right?
Right.
Remote work.
Yep.
Knucklehead is based out of the Dallas area.
Okay.
We do have some producers that live in Rockwall, Dallas, kind of that area there
Mhm.
where they will go and be on site with a client
Right.
to assist with just getting a studio set up, showing how technology works, etc. Sometimes that stuff just works a lot better in person. It depends on
I'd say
the type
always.
of owner you are. Yeah. And then we have some clients here in San Diego that I've been fortunate enough, even during COVID, to kind of just go either to their home or to their office space and walk them through. But yeah, the plan post COVID is to stay remote, but we will be increasing that that on-site assistance and production capability. Obviously can't do it right now.
So, do you guys have anybody? So just Dallas area and San Diego area where you're at?
Yeah, so well, that's where our producers are.
Okay.
Our actual employees, we have Nebraska, Minnesota. We have a guy out in Florida.
Okay.
We have a Venezuelan gentleman who's assisting us with like Google Analytics and ads and whatnot.
Okay.
But he's not really an employee; he's more of an independent contractor that we just picked up.
Right.
And then we're actually right now, if you go to knucklehead.agency or just go to our Facebook page or LinkedIn, we have an open position for an associate producer. So we're looking to hire another employee.
What's the compensation, guy?
I'm not going to tell you, but it
Yeah.
is, it's fair. But it also depends on what you're bringing to the table. So obviously, if we're going to bring on somebody who we can mold, who has less experience, it's not going to be some substantial
Naturally.
amount. Yeah. But
So-
if you're some fucking whiz kid and you're amazing and you've been doing broadcast and production, who knows? Maybe you'll get a great salary.
Awesome, man.
I
So,
don't determine that.
yeah, it's always best to not have to be part of that conversation. So with you guys so spread out like that, and trying to provide more on-site support, do you guys get much travel and per diem?
No. So, well, obviously right now we're not traveling at all.
Right.
There will be little travel once COVID starts, but that's only,
Well, like,
like every other business, there's a tier. When you buy our services, it's not like you pay X amount of dollars and you get all of this, right? There's certain
got it.
tiers.
So if clients whipping out the black card, then you're
Yeah.
probably gonna fly to them.
Exactly. If they pay
Right.
for that kind of white glove concierge level service,
Right.
then yeah, I'm hopping on a plane.
Concierge, that's a fancy term for rich people. Oh man, cool deal. Do you guys have any international clients? Are you only focused on the US?
We're not opposed to international clients. We've spoken to a few different international clients, mainly here, still in North America, so Canada. We did have a business in the UK that was very interested in doing it. I think there's, especially when it comes to production, it's very time sensitive, I guess, or
Yes.
you want to be on the same page. You don't want your producer to be.
You want to be in the same time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we don't have any international clients currently, but we're not opposed to grabbing them. It's the way we describe it is we want to be Dallas focused because that's where a majority of our production staff is, and that's where Steven and the company is headquartered. But we have the ability to help anyone anywhere.
Right. So it's that
we're
national
helping companies. Exactly.
It's that local national precedent.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So if you had somebody who couldn't afford your services, what kind of advice would you give them for getting themselves out there, being seen a little bit more, and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because as it often turns out, people, well, they ask, hey, what do you do? Oh, I would love you to do that for us. And then, there's
awesome,
obviously
$5K
costs
a month
associated with that. Yeah. But we have resources available, not just, paid resources, but even just checking out the blog where we post articles about podcasting, checking out some of our newsletters chock full of all types of just industry news, whether it be, tidbits about podcasting, stuff about our clients and the shows that we produce. But we also do have paid options. So you don't have to do, if you cannot afford our service, and I hate to say that, if you can't afford our service, our entire content strategy guide is available for sale as an ebook. We have a kind of a design and branding guide that we give out occasionally to clients that can't necessarily keep us on for as long-term as possible.
So these are like do-it-yourself guides?
Yes. So it's kind of, we're not giving away the secret sauce or anything, but we're saying, hey, content repurposing is so vital. Here's an entire content strategy guide of what we utilize across all of these platforms.
Right.
That we're more than willing to share with you.
Not all the nooks and crannies, but from a high level, this is the action that's done.
Exactly.
Right.
And kind of this is the action, this is the purpose. These are the kind of deliverables to expect and utilize. Right. Not necessarily saying this is what we do for every single client or giving out any, like I said, proprietary information or anything, but just good, good all around information.
So it's actually ironic because this morning I just happened to get a notification for Gary Vee being live, and one of the things that he talked about today was his content model. And so I actually went over to SlideShare and got it. It's free. You can download it. It's PDF. Yep. It's freaking 86 pages. So I'm definitely going to be going through that myself. But do you guys use, well, first, is your strategy on the same level of magnitude as that? And secondly, do you guys use any of Gary Vee's strategies? Because he is quite easily the social media master of today.
Sure. I don't want to disparage Gary Vee, but he does do great stuff. His advice of 60 pieces of content a day, before this latest book that he put out, or latest e-guide, or whatever you want to call it, he put out, is good information, kind of generically good information, right? We should all be putting out content consistently that's on message, on brand.
So I'm not going to be on TikTok or Twitch, but
exactly
the principles of what he delivers is what you're talking about are the most important.
Those principles, I think, remain the same throughout any good guide. There will be some people that kind of buck at the Gary V name because they don't want to be associated, kind of like the Grant Cardone. You either love him or hate him. That goes the same way with Gary V.
I just see Grant Cardone and I'm like, that's fucking Andy Nelson right there. There he is.
Andy loves that.
Yeah, he does. I was just like 5 minutes before our interview here, I was watching his live over in the MIC, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Andy's a great dude.
Yeah, he is.
To touch back on your question, I don't think our guide's 80 some odd pages long. I think it's 40 something, because we go through.
That's still pretty significant. 30
some odd different deliverables that you could produce just from one show. Whether it be a podcast, a YouTube video, a blog article, whatever. And then we teach you kind of, here's 30 additional pieces of content you can produce, and then repurpose from that one deliverable that you have already.
Got it. So for those guides, I don't know if you can deliver the price online, but I mean, what is the rough estimate for that, or the actual price, whichever one is?
Yeah, I want to say I'd have to go and check, but I think we launched it at $99, right?
So
it's kind of a promo.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it will, within a week or two, jump up to, I think it's $250, like $249-ish, I think, is what the do-it-yourself, here's our guide kind of system is going to go for. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Several months ago, I picked up a book called Refactoring UI, and that was set at $250, and I was lucky to get it on sale at $150. So I can see a guide that has this type of power to fall into that same category of pricing. So that's definitely good. At least you guys are.
I wanted to go back. You had asked, like, beyond this kind of buy my book advice, or go to our website, right? Like, there is no problem. I don't know if anybody, like, we talk about it where we use Adobe, right? Because that's kind of industry standard for design tools, whether it's web development, UI, UX, or just generic graphic design. Even our video editing and audio editing are done all through Adobe suite of tools. But check out Canva. So if you're just worried about creating content, like, they have an awesome free tool that everyone, whether you're utilizing a content creation company or doing it yourself, you should be checking out Canva, because their free tools are amazing. And then they also have this paid tier, this pro tool.
Someone knocked on the door and they left Monty's shoe.
Okay. I'm so sorry. 1 second.
No worries, dude. I'll fill the void. So everyone, definitely what Justin's talking about is Canva. And I actually use Canva myself to create all of my social media group postings. I use Canva all the time for that. I also have one that's called Relay That, which is also pretty sweet, because you can actually take, you create one image and you can convert it to multiple social outputs. It automatically reformats everything for you. So I like Relay That for those instances. But yeah, definitely Canva is pretty awesome.
My oldest
happens, bro.
Somebody came to the door. She was nervous. We're all good to go.
Flaming bag of shit, right?
But I love the one that you mentioned. Going back to Canva, they do have that Canva Pro, which now gives you a whole bunch of other options and resizing to different, social sizes and whatnot. Just makes it super easy for you. Two others that I really like, especially if you're in the podcast realm, but you don't want to, or you cannot get a team like Knucklehead to do content for you. Headliner.io. They made
Headliner.io.
You got they will do audiograms based on your, you just upload an MP3 or you upload a video, and they create these snippets for you that you can repurpose. And then for a small fee, instead of getting the entirety of the Adobe package, you can grab Adobe Spark. which is a great tool. It's very similar to Canva, where it's just drag and drop. They have templates, they have stock images, and kind of these awesome elements that you can just build content for yourself. And I know not everyone is comfortable with, utilizing industry standard tools such as Adobe.
Well, they're complex. That's what it is.
It takes time to learn them. And I didn't go to school for graphic design.
Me neither.
I am now. I'm getting my master's in digital media design. But I went to school. I got a business management degree, and then I got a supply chain management graduate certificate, right?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with what I'm doing now. So I'm going back. I'm at Harvard's Extension School doing their digital media design master's. So I self-taught all of these programs. So you utilize Canva right now, utilize Adobe Spark right now, and then as you're learning via YouTube and via other content creators like myself or anyone else who puts out information, you slowly merge into these bigger and better tools, or you hire a content creation company.
What he's saying, guys, is that you need to test the viability of your idea. And you do that with the lowest barrier to entry and the lowest overhead. So that's why using something like Canva is better, because you don't have to spend money to use Canva. It's free. So
yeah, what is Adobe now? Like $200 a year?
My license is like $50 a month right now.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
way more than
$600, $700 a month, or $600, $700 a year. Or, for a tool that's incredibly complex, it has amazing functionality, yes, but you don't know how to use it. So why spend $700 a year on a tool that you're not proficient in yet, when you can not only test your idea, but start to familiarize yourself with design tools by utilizing something like Canva? Right.
It's a simplified version is what it is. Mm-hmm. Hey, real quick, coming back to that Headliner, I tried looking up Headliner.io, and it doesn't look like it exists, but there is a Headliner app, headliner.app. I think that's what you're talking about, because the website says they're promoting podcasts stuff.
Let me Google here. Yep, that's it. Yeah, headliner.app. I'm sorry.
So that's .app. So
and awesome. They have obviously a bunch of different paid tiers, but even their free tool is amazing, where obviously at Knucklehead, we design and create our own audiograms, and we utilize a video, kind of a video element. So we call them audio videograms, and they're our own templates, and they're created specifically for clients. But if it's just you, with your podcast or your YouTube channel, or you want to create little audio snippets from a live Facebook that you did, you just download that MP3 on your computer, upload it to Headliner, and it will create those snippets for you, even at their free tier. So there's no reason not to utilize some of these really awesome tools just to get some good content out there. There's no excuse not to have good social content right now. There's so many tools.
So in terms of platforms, what do you guys use? I mean, is all of them the answer, or do you guys hone in?
Yeah. No, all of them is the answer. So if you mean specifically for podcast hosting,
no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, then what were you asking?
Well, podcast hosting is typically dependent on however you want to set it up, right? So I'm currently on Anchor. They auto post to 8 or 10 automatically. So anything else, I would just create my own account and then add that RSS feed to Anchor, right?
What
but in
platforms
terms of,
were you?
And for social media platforms, when you guys do all this work and you post, I don't focus a lot on social media, because most of my focus is the business foundation. So I stick to the big three: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that's pretty much the only place where I post regular content.
So for Knucklehead Media Group and Knucklehead's own podcast, all of them, right? But a majority of our I guess prospecting or kind of engagement really comes from LinkedIn, because a majority of our clients are businesses or organizations. So, and again, when we start posting for clients, it just depends on where their audience is, or where they want their audience to be. So it can be as simple as, the big three, the big four, if you want to toss in a LinkedIn.
Yeah, I include LinkedIn as well. So yeah, that works.
But some of them want to have a podcast on YouTube. So, then we start creating YouTube style content and building a page out for that. All of the things that come out like that.
Do you consider YouTube a social media platform, or do you consider it
I do.
Because I just consider it a video platform to post my videos and people can comment, because that's the only real feature that it has, right?
That would be, I get that perspective, but that would be like calling Instagram, a picture platform. Like,
that's true.
Because, that's kind of Instagram's main function, right? Is for people to upload pictures in square format and get a bunch of likes and generate buzz. Well, YouTube, if you really go into your channel depths, you have your playlist and you have your videos, but then you have your about, you have your discussion, you have all of these separate tabs that allow it to function as a social platform just within your own channel, not to mention the kind of collaboration and the efforts behind kind of cross promotion potential with other channels even. So it definitely is, it has a very social aspect to it if you're, maining it. If you're kind of utilizing it as a main platform.
Source of content, yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, I just one of the things I don't do is I don't do like Twitch, Stitcher. Well, I don't even know what Stitcher is. Fuck, dude. Like the video game one, Twitch.
I love Twitch, not only because I'm a nerd and I love video games, but just as a platform, they have expanded. Once Amazon bought them, it became less about video games. So the public perception still is Twitch is all video games, right?
Right.
But they have a just chatting section. They have a music and art section. They have a kind of just a generic section. There's podcasts that are hosted just on Twitch. Now, those are going to be very niche shows and very niche products because of the perception that Twitch is still gaming. But Twitch as a platform has expanded so much that, this show could easily be on Twitch right now.
Well, shit. Yeah, I've always just tried to stay away from the others, like the unknown sectors, just because I personally don't put my focus into as much social media as a lot of other people. Like Gary Vee will talk religiously about, hammering social media every day, all day. And I take the opposite approach where I focus on the foundational stuff, as I mentioned.
So I'm kind of in the middle. So I love social media. Obviously, it's kind of, a large part of my job. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, fuck social. But everything that you like.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking of that movie, Funny People, where Seth Rogen gets pissed because James Taylor's like, fuck Facebook.
There are platforms that I enjoy more so than others. But also, it just goes back to strategy. So a lot of people have this wrong idea that you just, kind of post willy-nilly and just throw content up, or they have to post every day, all day long. And it's like, no, you just have to really, the basics, if you want to learn anything, is just be consistent, be relevant to the platform you're on, and not just provide value, but provide content that your audience wants to consume on that channel. You know what I mean?
When you say be consistent, are you talking about consistently posting at scheduled times? Or
it doesn't even have to be scheduled times. I mean, just if you are consistently posting, and by that I don't mean every day, and I don't mean once every 2 weeks. It's just have a consistent post. Your audience knows that if they go to your social feed, there's probably going to be a new post there within the last few days, right? You're not disappearing for weeks at a time, or not posting for 3 months and then coming back. It's got to be consistent and intentional.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, one of the things that I don't do for my own podcast that we're talking on right now is consistency, because I want everything to be real, raw, and I deliver a lot of hip pocket content. So like
Yeah.
this interview is one of the few scheduled things that I do.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, you may not see it as consistent, but you consistently have these interviews. I see these videos pop up in my feed all the time, and even just posts about, you know, even not necessarily on your own Facebook page, but you do a really good job within some of our business groups, right? The Carbon Digital group, and then we have a Digital Battlefield group, and I think we're in the Vet Tribe together.
Yeah.
You know, you post consistently, so the algorithm rewards you for that posting consistently. It's when you neglect your page and you don't post for 3 months and then post, and you're like, well, nobody's liking my content. It's like, because Facebook's not showing it to anybody because you
and then you decide to fucking boost that post for $50, and that's a waste of money.
So these algorithms are designed to reward people that utilize their platforms. So you need to ensure that you're consistently utilizing the platform and you know, using the features. To go back to which you had talked about which platforms we utilize. You mentioned how you're not a huge fan of a lot of these platforms. I am kind of stuck in the middle between I love being an early adopter of technology, and I like to wait till something's proven, at least social wise. I never jumped on TikTok. One, because I didn't think it really fit my business at the time, which was still Zerds, you know. TikTok to me sounds like a great platform to generate buzz for a podcast, because you can create these small video snippets, these little audio snippets, and push them out, right? But immediately within a few months of TikTok coming out, there were already concerns about how much data, you know, the Chinese state was procuring from that.
I actually just saw that pop up in my feed a few days ago as well, and I was like, man, I am really glad I did not
so you have all of these brands, all of these content creators, all of these companies that have spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours of manpower creating, you know, these channels and building out these audiences on TikTok that here in the next 45 days are going to be nothing now.
Right.
You know, so it's, I guess, do your research, even if it's an early adoption scenario, you know, find out who's behind the application, who's behind the platform, what are their, you know, what's their track record. Don't just jump into everything head first just because you want to be an early adopter.
One of the things that I've really noticed is, I picked up an auto poster. So something that lets me schedule content at predefined times. And I was looking at what platforms does this system use? And there's only a handful of systems out of all the social medias out there, right? Like, I used to be on Tumblr a lot, and then I found there was a lot of porn on there. And then I got suckered in, and I had to get away from it because there's some gangster shit out there. But there's some shit that'll rock your world. But I mean, I had to get away from stuff like that. So the fact that even, you know, Tumblr's been around a long time, Blogger's been around a long time. You know, a lot of these systems don't even have auto posting capabilities sometimes. And, you know, you can't even schedule content from one area in a lot of these platforms. So does that tell you, as I guess a social media content expert, does that tell you that you should probably wait to embark on those, or does that tell you that this posting platform hasn't really caught up to the times?
I would say, number one, there are probably 5 million different CRMs or auto schedulers, you know, that you could potentially utilize.
Right.
So find one that does post to the platforms that you want, and you know, adopt that one, or you know, just be flexible. What we utilize is HubSpot, which has its own scheduling. And then even before that, when I was just doing Zerds, I split my time between Hootsuite and just natively scheduling content, because these platforms, they have their own content schedulers. Like Facebook has its own content scheduling. So don't rush another tidbit like I did with the machinery for my apparel business. Don't rush and spend a whole bunch of money on stuff you don't need, right? Same thing for the Adobe stuff. You don't have to jump head first into Adobe Creative Suite for $700 when you can utilize Canva to get yourself. So with these auto schedulers, don't just jump into one, you know, like an annual commitment. Check them out, do the free trials, or just utilize the native posting until you've grown enough that you really need that automation or that, you know, to free up that time that an auto scheduler gives you back.
Right. That's definitely great advice. I was fortunate enough to pick up my auto scheduler on a lifetime deal, LTD,
Oh, perfect.
from AppSumo. So I paid like $50 and I have a lifetime deal for it. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's great. Sites like AppSumo,
It's a
gosh, there's another one I can't remember.
I have a
but they're
love-hate relationship with AppSumo. I
they-
love them. They do a lot of amazing stuff. They come
yes.
out with a lot of amazing tools, but at the same time, I'll spend $50 on something that they said was awesome, and I'll try it out, and then the next week I'll get an email for something even better. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is this?
but you and I both know as techie and as nerdy as we are, I mean, the app game, it changes like every 5 minutes, right?
does,
There's always
yeah.
a new something better, some new feature. I mean, the tech space in general is just, it's on a lightning. It's just climbing like crazy.
Yeah, dude. Awesome, man. So, is there anything just out there in the space of Justin that you want to let everyone know? You want to give out some tools and tips and things like that outside of what we've already delivered?
Yeah, make your website ADA accessible, you asshole. I've been talking about this for 2 years. I don't know how many people have rolled their eyes. ADA accessible website? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, now we got veteran entrepreneurs getting sued. It's no longer the Domino's, the Pizza Huts, the Hiltons that are being sued
Walmarts,
by
the
people.
Targets.
No,
Yeah.
it's to us now. So take this time to really examine what you need to do to get WCAG compliant, because that's the regulation right now. I know Congress and everybody has drugged their feet. It's 2018, we were supposed to get updated guidelines about how web accessibility met, ADA guidelines. It never happened. It doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen. So what we're working with,
the last thing that they put out was for Section 508, right?
yeah, but that doesn't even apply to 90% of us.
Right. Well, it applies to all government and all like federally funded universities and things like that.
Exactly.
But even the Section 508 guidance now says just follow the WCAG.
Yeah, it points back to WCAG. Exactly.
Right.
And we're working with a patchwork of federal court opinions and local, state and even lower court opinions, kind of this patchwork, hodgepodge, what qualifies, what doesn't. And so really, I mean, the end thing here is, does my website need to be accessible? Maybe, but do you want to cover your ass so you're not paying out a whole bunch of legal fees or settling out of court to stop some of these ambulance chasing lawsuits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you love your business?
Yeah. Do you want
to
to
keep
still
it?
own a business? Invest a little bit now to save your ass later.
Definitely. Yeah, I know that you and I were talking about doing some gangster shit with that down the pipe. So
it's going to happen.
Yeah, bro.
Like I said, for the last couple of years, consistently, I've seen you, myself, maybe one or two other web developers or a lot of UI UX designers have kind of hopped on the train, right? Because they talk about contrast and whatnot. And we've been speaking on it for years and just getting laughed at about how ludicrous it is that a website would need to be ADA accessible. And I may even agree a little bit, but I'm not Congress, and I'm not the Supreme Court. So I didn't get to choose whether or not your website needed to be accessible, but it does.
Right. It's not hard. Well, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, ADA is the Act for Disabilities,
the American Disabilities Act. Yeah.
Right. So basically the purpose of it is, what we're talking about is that so handicapped people can use your website. You're blind, you're deaf, you're colorblind, things like that. You have to use the keyboard to navigate, just different stuff like that. Any type of disability that prevents you from accessing and using a website like everyone else. So
let's talk about real quick. Not only is it required just via regulation and legislation to have your website accessible, but there's good reasons why you want to make it accessible to disabled people just in general. and this is probably the most important. Listen up, e-commerce guys that are laughing at this. There are 64 million people with at least one disability just in the United States. 35% of that population is of working age, and they earn income through employment or benefits. That total disposable income is $490 billion, and their discretionary income is $21 billion just for that working age group of disabled people. That's multiple times more than African American segments, which is only $3 billion discretionary income, and the Hispanic market segment, which is $16 billion.
When you're talking about discretionary income, you mean that how much money they have to spend in the consumer world?
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And so if you're not making sure your website is accessible for these people with disabling conditions, whether it be, loss of vision or low vision, low hearing, inability to scroll with a hand, any of those type of disabling conditions, you're losing out on potentially, what did I say, $21 billion.
Right. And realistically, you're not going to get all of that. But if you got 1%,
No, you don't even need 1%. You just need to ensure your website's accessible so that these disabled individuals don't just immediately leave your website.
Right.
Even
more so, if you have a home life-saving company where your product is a necklace with a little button that calls the police and your website is not accessible, you're a fucking retard. Like, realistically, like, if your product explicitly serves disabled people, your shit better be accessible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, man, I'd spend. I've talked to a lot of people about this, and 99% of them don't want to pay for full services. Most people.
No, and that's the biggest rub, right? Is we just don't want to pay for it.
Right. You want it, but you don't want to pay for it. And what you do want to pay for does not align with the value, right? Mm-hmm. And so I end up, especially with clients, I end up having them sign a document that says I've advised them on ADA requirements, and they have turned them down. I have offered ADA services, they have turned them down, and so they are now responsible for it, and that frees me up. So because
the second they get sued, they're going to turn to you and say, you sold me a defective product.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I'm not liable for that. I advised you.
Exactly. A lot of times what these types of clients will end up doing is they'll go out and find a free product like UserWay, and they'll just put a widget on their website that says, okay, I'm good. No, you're not covered.
Yeah,
you have
band-aided, like
you've band-aided the problem. So that's something that people need to realize. That's for sure.
And real quick, Jared, I know we got to wrap up. I know, but speaking specifically to our veteran, buddies and mm-hmm. people within our sphere of influence, like imagine, I'm a Marine infantry, right? So I got a lot of friends and myself that have conditions that may limit our accessibility to the web or physical locations. You have guys that have been blown up that are missing limbs or, are blind, loss of hearing, concussions, mental impairments. Why do you want to limit their access to your website? Like, don't we as fellow veterans want to ensure that our brothers and sisters, we're catering to them, we're giving them the ability to buy our service or buy our product or just access our content? Like, that shit should be hitting home personal for you.
Right.
Don't scoff at the idea of having an accessible website, because there's a large contingency within our own community that needs access to these websites.
Definitely.
That's my
most definitely true. Our friends, our family, our brothers and sisters in arms, they definitely have been through the ringer, as most of us have. And as Justin said, they need to be able to get online and use the internet too, regardless of whatever the issue is.
And I mean, if you don't like my appeal to your emotions, my empathetic appeal, then think of it in dollars and cents. How much market value do veterans have? Disabled veterans especially. We have
Right.
discretionary income of our own. And if your website's not accessible, guess what? They're not spending it on your product or service.
Right. Even more so if you have a highly veteran-oriented brand. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, fucking A, man.
Well, I
Well,
appreciate you letting me come on here and just shoot the shit with you. I really love how informal and normal and awesome I can be.
yeah, dude. Just see this, dude? I'm wearing a fucking Harley shirt, dude. Ain't no suit.
Right.
Ain't no suits for me, bro. So this is real raw. I even got fucking kids walking in the shot and everything, you know?
Hey, it's
we all
a
have
global
lives.
pandemic. Yeah.
Not
We're
even
all
that,
going
man.
through it.
We all have lives. We all have our own situations, and by me not doing anything fancy, i.e. editing or any kind of crap like that, everyone is seeing exactly how raw this is, right? Like that little asshole right there is on a tablet, and that upsets me because I don't like kids on technology, even though I had a Nintendo at 5. But that's the reality of life, right? So fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Good words.
Awesome. Well, hey, Justin, this has been an awesome time. Great conversation. You and I are definitely going to be hooking up after this, not in the X-rated.
Yeah. Hey, careful.
But,
give away our secrets.
Hey. All right.
But seriously, everybody who watched a portion of this, is listening to this, or seeing a snippet of this in the future, be on the lookout because we're serious about this web ADA accessibility stuff. It needs to happen. There's no excuse. And we're here to help. You have 2 great resources right here. Reach out because there will be some stuff. It's already in the pipe. You know, things are happening where there's going to be resources available. There's going to be services offered. Just be on the lookout. And if you need podcast production or content production, reach out to me, Justin at knucklehead.agency. If you need specifically web development or something awesome in that place, talk to my man, Jared Ledbetter. He's your guy.
Awesome, everyone. You heard it there right from the horse's mouth. I am your guy. So, all right, everyone. It's been an awesome interview with Justin from Knucklehead Media. We'll catch you guys next time. Till then, stay safe, stay warm or cold, depending on your region. And always, happy coding. Later, guys. Later, Justin.
See ya.